Hi everybody, Grandad here. Another little video I thought I'd put out. And what I'm up to today is I'm looking at some of my coins. Now, as you may or may not know, I collect coins. Now, I'm not an expert on coins. I don't claim to be an expert on anything. But I'm a very keen amateur. And I collect coins. Now, I'm not fanatical about it. I don't really study them to the nth degree and get all the information I probably could get if I wanted to. But I just like collecting them. I look them up, find out what they are, and I collect them, and they're interesting. But I don't go into details like the mint marks or the strange anomalies that some of them might have. I mean, sometimes the dates are significant and they're more valuable because of that, and sometimes they've got some little imperfections that makes them more valuable. Now, I don't really go into that, but it's quite interesting. And if anybody out there who's watching this video is interested in finding out anything particular about any of the coins I've got, then if you leave a comment in a little comment about it, and I'll try and get back to you and let you know what it is. And if people are interested, I might make another video going into a bit more detail on some of the coins. But this is just a general overview of some of the coins I've got that I find interesting, and maybe you will as well. So we'll start off with one that's quite an interesting coin in Britain. And I mean, I went metal detecting for well over a year before I actually found one, and I got so desperate for one because I'd heard about them that I actually bought one. And it's this coin here, and it's a copper coin. Now, I don't know how well you can see it, because it's, even though I bought it, it's not one I metal detected. I actually bought this one. I think it cost me £11, something like that. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it's what's known, and it's a George III coin, and they were all dated exactly the same date, which, if I remember rightly, was 1797. They've all got 1797 because they only minted these for a little while, and I'll tell you why. So that's one I bought, and I actually found them metal detecting. I found 4 more over my period of time. Now, these are much more worn. They're very worn away because they've been in the ground, but they're all what's known as cartwheel pennies. That's probably the best one I found actually metal detecting, and it's virtually worn away. You can't hardly see the emblem. There's a Britannia a Britannia on the back, but you can hardly see that on any of them. But the thing about these cartwheel pennies are, as you can see, they're quite big and they're quite thick. But if you weigh them, and I've got some scales here, and if I tear this out, I put it on, I had this right, but it's moved. That's on grams, and that's on ounces. Now, if I put that on the scale, it weighs in. Now, I'll just tear that again because that was a bit different before. Tear that out. Put that on. 0.9. That's not quite right, because I did it before and it was heavier than that. So why has that gone different? Tear that out, put it on. That's 95.95 of an ounce. An ounce. Let's try another one. That's 91.91 of an ounce. Now, they were said to be 1 ounce, these coins. Now, just check that. Now, I'll change it to grams because some people work in grams. Let's tear that out again. I've turned it off now somehow. What am I on now? 1 grams, ounces, grams, tear. 1 ounces now. Let's try that again. I want to get this right. That's 86.86 of a gram of an ounce. That's 8.3. Now before when I did it, they all weighed over an ounce, so I don't quite know why that is. It's got minus there. Grams. Let's tear that back. Now let's have a look. Let's try that in grams. That's 26.8 grams. Let's try that one. 25.8 grams. So they're all a bit, but the point I'm trying to make is that these cartwheel pennies are over an ounce of copper. Now you can see where the problem was going to come with this. At the time these were made, and they made a special machine, and an engineer devised a machine for making these coins, which they thought was going to be foolproof. And he wanted to give people value for money. So he said that the coin needed to be at least an ounce of copper in each coin. Now that was okay at the time because copper was perhaps reasonably cheap at that time, but they soon discovered that the price of copper went up tremendous. And what happened was people were melting down the coins and selling them as scrap, because the copper was worth more than the penny that the actual coin was worth. Because you must remember, in those days it wasn't pre-decimalisation, and there was 240 of these to a pound, to an English pound. 240 of these pennies, 240 pennies to a pound. And so they soon discovered that this method of doing coins using the actual weight in copper, giving a good value, was a mistake. They didn't and the strange thing about it was they made these at an ounce. And there's another coin here I've got, which I did actually buy. And this is another cartwheel penny, but if you look at it, it's very thick. It's the same sort of size. In fact, it's a bit bigger than the penny coin. And this is actually a 2-penny coin. And I actually bought this one as well. There's old George III on the back there, and Britannia on the other side. Now this one actually weighs 2 ounces. So in that one coin, they were using 2 ounces of copper. So you can understand why people would melt these down for scrap metal. And so it was a complete failure as a coin, and they soon got rid of them. But I found quite a few of those metal detecting, the penny ones. Never found a 2-penny coin metal detecting, but I bought one. So that's interesting. But the interesting thing about them is they've all got the same date on them. Now this is a bit worn and I can't see the date, but they're all the same date. I think it was 1797. I'll just have a little check on that because I don't want to lead you astray. No, I can't see the date on that one. Yeah, 1797 on that one. So that's the cartwheel penny, George III. Now I've got some other George III coins in here, of which I've got many coins, all different denominations. Let me see what we've got in here. Now, I got some more George III. Later on, they made George III pennies a lot smaller. And these are all George III's, but they were still pretty big. Now, these are George III. They're a much thinner coin. And these I found metal detecting, so they're a bit battered, so you can't really see anything on these. But they are all been identified as George III. The reason you know they're George III by the size for a kickoff, and if you look around the edge, they've all got this milled edge around the edge here. I don't know whether you can see that. There's a machined edge. Now all George III coins had that milled edge to stop people cutting bits off, I suppose, and then you could tell that it was a proper sized coin and no bits were missing, because there were buggers for taking bits off the coins because of the scrap value and making new coins, especially the silver coins. They were clipped all the time. Now there's another one. There's George. I don't know whether he's George III or George II, but that's got a milled edge as well, and that's slightly smaller than the other one. And then you've got these other Georges. These are George III, and by now they've come a lot smaller coins. And when you compare them together, you can see that progressively along, the coins got smaller and smaller. And I've got quite a few of those. I found quite a lot of those metal detecting. But you know immediately you've got a George by the size of it and that milled edge. So those are the George coins. And I got, I must have 20 or 30 in there of the different types of George coin. That's perhaps a bit better one. They got Britannia on the one side and George, that's the George III, George III, but with a milled edge. Now, I think that's all I wanted to show you in this box. I mean, I've got lots of sort of more modern coins from the threepenny bit with its hexagon coin, and I got hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but a whole load of those threepenny coins, and halfpennies, which are the halfpenny coins. I got a whole bag full of those, and those are quite interesting. Found a lot of those metal detecting. They weren't very valuable, so I suppose if people lost them, they weren't going to waste any time. And this is actually known as the ship halfpenny. They put a picture of a ship. I'll just show you that, because I think it's a picture of a famous ship on there, and this one happens to be 1957. But if you look on there, there's a ship on there, and I think that was Sir Francis Drake's ship. I'll tell you more about that again when I get a minted coin that tells you a little bit more about Sir Francis Drake's ship. I don't know what it's called, the Golden Hind or something like that. I don't know exactly, but I'll tell you more about that later when we go through the coins of England, which I'm collecting, which I made a previous video about. And then of course a coin that soon went out of circulation, which are in these packets here, which are farthings. And they had farthings, or a quarter of a penny. You'd get 4 of these for 1 penny coin, and these had various symbols on. Some had, these older ones had Britannia, and the later ones had a wren, and that's the ones that Queen Elizabeth had, had a wren on them. So those are quite interesting, but those are quarter of a penny coins. So these are quite interesting if you're interested in English coins. And then we move on a bit further. Those are mainly the copper coins. Oh, there's some in here which I'll show you. I didn't know where these were. These have got mixed up. But these are another coin that was around at the time. Now, I showed you the threepenny bit coin, which was the hexagon. Now, these are silver threepenny bits. If I just get one out, and I've got several of those here. And these are silver threepenny bits, or joeys as we used to call them. Threepenny joeys. And these were interesting because at Christmas they used to put some of these in the Christmas pudding. And if you had a piece of pudding with a threepenny coin in, you thought you were lucky. And kids used to love looking for the threepenny pieces in the pudding. And they used to put them in there. But there's a threepenny coin, a 3p coin, which are actually silver. That's the little silver joeys, silver threepenny bit. Now, the other one, of course, that's the threepence. Then you've got the one that was a bit bigger, which was a 6p, and I've got a Victorian one there, Victorian 6p, and that's got 6p written on the back, and that's silver as well, and that's one of Queen Victoria, and it's got the old head of Victoria, and that's dated 1897. She died in 1901, so that was some time before she died. And you find coins with the young head, the bun head as they call it, and the old head and the mourning head, where she's mourning her husband Alfred, who died. Albert, I think it was Albert. Now, along with George III, we had the same sort of thing. I got some more threepenny bits there, and in this one here, I've got some more. This one here, this is a 6p. I think this is a 6p. George III 6p. I'm almost certain this is a 6p. It's definitely George III, but this might be a good coin to show the picture of George III. Now, I don't know whether you can see that, whether it's focusing very good. But that's George III, and they call him Bullhead because he got this very fat face, and they called him Bullhead. And they, on the coins, they refer to these as bullheads. And on the back, this one's just got a coat of arms of the various places: England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. And this one, I'm sure it's got a date on here somewhere, but I just can't see it. Yeah, this one's 1818, 1818, that one. And that's the sixpence. It's a little bit bigger than the Victorian sixpence. Now, moving on to another box. I'll leave that one there for a minute to show you again in a minute. Moving on to another box I've got just here. These are silver coins. I've got the sixpences again, lots of sixpences. And then we go on to the shillings, various shilling coins. These have got 50% silver, and that's the George V one. But we've also got our old friend George III, Bullhead. If I take one of them out the wrapper, you can see there's old Bullhead again, George III, and that's a bit bigger, sort of twice the size of the sixpence, and that's a shilling, George III shilling. Now the other coins we've got here, we've got the half crowns. That's a half crown, that's George VI half crown. And the crown is a 5 shilling. I've got some of those which I'll show you in a minute. And you've got 2 of these made one of those. This is these used to be 2 shillings and 6 pence in old money. And 2 of them would make 5 shillings. Now then, what else have we got in interest? Now then, this one here is a large coin. I'm not quite sure. I think this is a half crown of George III. Now I haven't got any of these, but looking at it, it looks to have the bullhead again, and it's certainly got a different pattern on the back than I've seen. I mean, it's so worn. This one I found metal detecting, and I think it is a George III. I can certainly see the 3 lines for George III, and it looks like a bullhead, but it's very badly worn. So I think that's a half crown, or 2 shillings and 6 pence George III half crown. But this one is a much older coin, which I found metal detecting, and I'm quite proud of this one because it's a really old one. And this one, try to give you a much better close-up of this. This is a 12 pence coin. So it's a shilling. 12 pence it's got on it. It's got the X11. Well, you can see that. And the king on there is actually Charles I. And again, it's got his coat of arms on the back. I'll just show you that. Coat of arms on the back of Charles I. Now, Charles I was quite an interesting monarch. He fell out with the people in England, and the people rose up against him under a man by the name of Oliver Cromwell, and they didn't get on very well, and it ended up in a civil war. Now, you probably heard about the English Civil War, where Oliver Cromwell was in big trouble with the Royalists. The Royalists and the Roundheads were fighting a civil war in England, and poor old Charles I here, he got caught up in it all, and Oliver Cromwell took his head. He had him beheaded. And so that was an interesting piece of history, where the monarchy was almost done away with in England, and a republic was sort of formed with Oliver Cromwell as protector. I suppose you might call him like a dictator today, but he called himself the protector of England, and he's quite well sort of notable in England. Oliver Cromwell. He's even got a statue at the Houses of Parliament in England where you can see Oliver Cromwell. But he was the leader of the Roundheads in the Civil War. So that's quite interesting. Now, I've saved all sorts of British coins, which I'll talk about. No, I won't talk about that. We'll go back. We'll go back to the British coins later. But I've saved a lot of foreign coins. And over the years I've picked up all sorts of foreign coins, and I've actually bought coins. And the coins I bought Roman coins. Now in this box here there's over 40, and I'm not going to go through them all because you'd just be tired of looking at Roman coins. I mean, Roman coins are 10 a penny. The only thing I would say about Roman coins, which is interesting, some of them are really small. Little tiny things, barely recognizable. And when you're metal detecting, have a job to find little coins like that. I mean, people do find them. They go a little bit bigger on some of them. But generally speaking, 2,000-year-old coins from the Romans are very misshapen. They're not round, they're stamped out. And they're very small. I mean, they did have silver coins. Now, I must say I bought most of these. I might just show you one here if I can find it that I actually found metal detecting. But the trouble is, in England, because these coins are so old, they get very worn. And these are two which I metal detected. Now I know they're Roman coins because of the shape of them and just a little bit of detail, but I can tell by the thickness, and I can't tell what emperor's on there because it's too far gone. It's covered in verdigris, very green, but I know they're Roman coins. By the area I found them, I know that it was a Roman area. And I found two of those. There's another one in there, very badly corroded and almost impossible to tell what they are. But I've got about 40 different sizes, different emperors of Roman coins there. I mean, it'd take me ages to go all through those. But Roman coins really aren't very valuable. I mean, I paid for the whole lot of them about £30 off a chap who was selling them because he couldn't sell them. I mean, he couldn't even get £1 each for them. So Roman coins in England, anyway, are 10 a penny. I don't know what they're like in other countries. Now, I go all over the place, and I go into old gift shops and charity shops and old junk shops, and I look for coins. And I've got one here, which I've still got the label on it. It cost me £12, and it's a foreign coin, and it's a coin, and it says Frederick, King of Prussia. So it's a Prussian coin, and there he is. I don't know whether you can see him. That's Frederick, King of Prussia. And on the reverse side, it's got like an eagle or some sort of a bird there. I don't know what it is, some sort of eagle, or I don't know what kind of bird that would be. But that's an interesting coin, which I saved. And then I don't only save coins, I came commemorative medals as well. And this here is a medal. And it says on it, campaign something du Bon is French, I think. Oh yeah, it's what the, I see what it is now. It's a Hudson Bay Company coin, and that's 1617. Now Hudson Bay Company was a big shipping company, and they went to Canada, I believe. And on the one side there, it's got, that's probably French on there, and that's got a ship on there, and it's the Hudson Bay Company, sort of a big token of some sort that the Hudson Bay Company put out. I'm not quite sure why, whether it was a trading token, I'm not sure. But, and it's got Nonsuch. That ship on there is called the Nonsuch, which is interesting for people who are interested in that sort of thing. But that's a Hudson Bay Company coin. And there's another Roman coin. That's actually a silver. No, I'm telling a lie. This is a hammered coin. What we like to find when we're metal detecting is hammered coins. That's what, you know, in England, everybody searches for what they call a hammy, which is a hammered coin. And I've got one here. I put it by when I was looking on the other things. Now this little hammy in here is another bought one, because I haven't been lucky enough to find a hammy as yet. I mean, they're quite rare to find, but that's only a tiny bit of one, and it's got details on it. And it says on the thing, it's a half silver hammered 1500s. It doesn't actually say what the king was, but that's a silver hammered coin, but it's been nibbled away so bad in the ground that it's lost most of its thing, it's silver, you can hardly tell. And this one is so old, and this one cost me £6, and it's a class 4-2 Edward I hammered silver coin. It doesn't look silver, it's black, but it is a hammered coin, and it is silver. But again, it's not very easy to see what that is. Now, I don't know whether I've got any more. Got some more Roman coins there. Now, a lot of these in these packets here, I'm not sure. There's another Roman coins. I don't know what I've got here. Oh, that's another one. One thing they used to do with these hammered coins, this is a cut, another cut coin. It says cut halfpenny of Stephen, Watford Mint, 1153 to 1141. And as I say, I bought that, so the research has been done on that. So that tells you what that coin is. But what they used to do to pay for stuff that was not worth a complete coin, they would actually chop it in half. And they've even been known to cut them into quarters as well. So you'll find half coins that have been deliberately cut to spend, and quarter coins that have been deliberately cut. And on some of them they had a cross, and that gave you a line to cut, so that you knew exactly where to cut your hammered coins to make lower denominations. Now this is quite an interesting coin. This one comes from the Isle of Man, not the Isle of Man, it comes from Wales, from Anglesey. And it's an Anglesey coin. Now you can't see it very well, but it's got letters on that side. I think it's DW. It's like a token more than a coin for spending. But you'll find there was a lot in England. There was a lot of difficulty getting coinage in certain times. So people started minting their own coins. And these, in Anglesey, they were minted. And each one has got a picture on the back of a druid. So these are known as druid coins. And you find the druid is predicted on that side. It's not a king. It's a religious sort of person, and so the Druids were quite ancient sort of religious order in Wales, and Stonehenge was supposed to be something to do with the Druids. The Romans didn't like them. They thought they worshipped the devil, and they used human sacrifice, which is against the Romans. So the Romans drove out the Druids and tried to kill them. They had sacred oak orchards, and they used mistletoe as one of their sacred plants. So the Druids themselves are quite an interesting history people to look up. But that's a coin of Anglesey. I can't see the writing on it, so faint, but it's definitely got Anglesey there something. Miners token, miners halfpenny. So that was done by the mining industry to use as coinage. And what they do, they mint these coins, and the people who they paid the money with these coins could only spend it in their shops. So it was a bit of a trick, really, to get the money back off the miners by making them spend the money that they paid them in the shop. So that was that's interesting. That one there's a Theodora, which was a female Roman god, Roman emperor. Theodora's second wife of Constantine after his death. After Constantine the First's death, she took over as emperor of Rome for a while, and so that's a little tiny coin of hers, not in very good condition, a very small coin, and you can't hardly see it, so I won't dwell on that too long. And that's another token. You find a lot of tokens. What is that? Oh, that's a French copper denari. Oh, or decomi or something like that. That cost me £7. I haven't got a lot of detail on it, but that's another coin of foreign origin. Now this one, I don't know whether I can even see what this is. I'll try and get it out of here. I should have researched this a little bit more. No, it's too far gone. I can't read it, but you have to take my word for it. There's a shield on the one side, which is not very plain to see. There's a shield on that side, and there's some writing on this side which I can't make out. But I think that was some sort of trade token again, which I metal detected, found it in a field somewhere. and not really sure what it is. Now each one of these coins, I actually bought these, and this one is an Ottoman coin. Again, I won't get them out of the packets to show you. If you, as I say, if you are interested in knowing more about these, just put a comment, and I'll try and do a little bit more sometime. But this one's from the Netherlands, half cent from the Netherlands. This is a Swiss Rappan, 1887. And then this one is a token, model half sovereign. Oh yeah, now this is interesting. You can get what they call a half sovereign, which were fakes. They used to do gold half sovereigns, and they used to be called spade ace half guineas. And what they are, they're actually a fake. They're not a real. They look like gold, and if you didn't know too much about it, you'd think that these were actually sovereigns if they were shiny enough, and think they were gold. But they're not. They're actually fakes. But they were used as tokens, and again, I suppose they got away with saying, "Oh, you know, it's not really a fake; it's a token." And there's another one, and it says on this one, the olden times, and again, it's sort of a fake coin. I mean, it's a genuine sort of coin in the sense that it was used and spent and used, but it wasn't a genuine gold coin as what they were making out it was. This is a commemorative Victorian coin, Queen Victoria, and the interesting thing about that one, because I was telling you before about the young head, the old head, when she was in mourning for Albert, and when she was a young girl. And this one has got several heads on it, and it shows Queen Victoria and her father, and I don't know whether it's her as a child and her father and the old head. So for some reason they put several generations of queens on there. I don't know quite why they did that, but it makes it interesting. But it's a Victorian commemorative medal, which is interesting. As I say, I collect medals as well as coins. And there's several here that are sort of foreign coins in that box. And I may go into them, as I say, in more detail if people show any interest in this. Now this is an interesting coin which I bought, and it actually came with a certificate. And I don't know whether you can do a screenshot of that if you want to read all about it. But it's actually a Spanish coin, and it says Certificate of Authenticity, the Rill Cove Wreck. Now this was a wreck of a ship in 1618. It actually sunk this off the Lizard in Cornwall, and they found 70 merchantmen, and it was lost in 1618 off the Rill Cove at the Lizard, Cornwall, and the wreck was discovered in 1973, and they found the coins recovered, and this is actually one of those coins. So that's an interesting coin that's actually been found on the bottom of the sea, and I bought it because of that. Can't remember how much I paid for it, too much probably, but you can't really see much on it, but it is a solid silver coin, really sort of worn out and flattened because it's been in the sea a long time, so the salt water has eaten into it. But I think it's a real. It's 8 reals coin, so that's quite interesting. And that's got a coin of, now as well as buying coins which are oh, this one's another token. And this one's the Iron Master. This is John Wilkinson. He wasn't the one that invented the machine that made the coins for George III. It was somebody else, but I can't remember. But this was a coin of an Iron Master who again started minting his own coins. And he probably paid his workers with it, and they spent it in his own shops. So there he is, John Wilkinson on that side. And the fact that he was an iron founder shows a man hammering there on an anvil. So it was a strange time years ago when money was short, and the way to pay people, and so they got money in their pocket, was to give them make your own coins if you couldn't get any from the proper source. Now, another thing I do, which coin collectors would probably scorn for, is I always buy, wherever I go, if I see them, I buy these coins which are they're fake coins, they're not real coins, and they're always coming in these little leaflets, and they're usually sealed in a little compartment, and I leave them in the compartment simply because I just want to have more the information about the coins, which is more interesting than the coin itself. Now, these are made coins, they're made of metal, they're not plastic or anything, and they are actually a coin, but these aren't real coins, these are imitation fake coins. And I've got one there, Elizabeth I. Now, the reason I bought them really so that I would be able to recognize a real one if I found it. If I managed to metal detect one and I picked it up and I couldn't recognize because it was worn out what it was, if I've got one of these coins, I can look at it and look at the details, and I might be able to tell from looking at the details on here whether the coin I've found is actually one of these coins. So I find that quite useful. And I got one Elizabeth I, and I got a coin of Henry VIII, because occasionally these turn up. Henry VIII coin. And just for fun, I've even got a few coins which are said to be pieces of 8, you know, from the pirate days. So these are foreign coins, or like reals, like that one I got off that ship there, that ship coin. This one's dated 1635, and it's a Spanish real coin. But these aren't real coins, they're molded, they're made of metal, but they're big coins. And again, if ever I found a coin that looked like that, I'd be able to tell what it is. But I just like collecting them. As I say, I'm not precious about the idea of collecting coins, and even things that aren't coins, like this little disc here with a cross on it. This is a souvenir, saved by grace. It's a little coin I picked up at an abbey. So they print things like that, and you get various abbeys that print sort of coins and little commemorative little tokens, and I find them interesting. They're of no great value, but I find them interesting, and I buy them whenever I can, and I've got a lot of those. I've got a whole stack in here, and they range from Anglo-Saxon coins. I've even got a Victorian penny there. I've got several Roman coins. There's another Henry VIII and Gladius Roman coins, again, so that I can tell what Roman coins I've got, what they are. And they come in these little information packs, which are quite nice. I like collecting those, and again, not a great deal of money, and they're interesting. So, well, you may love it or hate it. You may think it's a good idea, you may not, I don't know. But I collect them because it's something which I shall probably never find. And I've even got here, which is another coin. What have I got here? Oh, these are Anglo-Saxon coins. There's two there, Anglo-Saxons. Those should be in that box. And this one is a commemorative coin of Queen Elizabeth. Because I even get modern coins. I think this is possibly a real coin. I wouldn't want to cash it in, but maybe it's it's 1953. This is her coronation. Queen Elizabeth's coronation, commemorative coin for that. And that's that coin, Queen Elizabeth. And I find that's interesting. I can't remember where I picked up that. I may have picked it up second hand or first hand. And another thing I've got here, just happens to be in the same box, is a Victoria Cross. Now, I'm never likely to earn one of those, so I thought I'd buy myself a little one, so at least I know what they look like if ever I found one. Little tiny Victoria Cross. Now, I've got another box here, which I'll just quickly go into, with more of these what I call fake coins. And I've got a whole sheet here which I've had long time. I collected them when I was younger, and these are Roman coins, and these are fake coins again, just examples of coins. And some represent see, there's one there which is a Queen Elizabeth, which is similar to the one I showed you before. And then this one here is one that was actually one of our metal detecting friends actually found this coin metal detecting, and in order so that other people could benefit from it, he had replicas made. So this is as near as you'll get to a fake coin. I mean, it's very thin, so it looks like a hammered coin, and it's a 12 pence again. I'm not sure what king it is on there. I'm not sure at all what that is. I can't just somebody Rex Francis. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what king it is. I can't tell offhand, and I haven't got the details here. But somebody had that made. He had several of these made so he could give to people. But he actually found the original, and he had the coins made himself. And it's got in every detail. And I bought that when I went to one of our metal detecting meetings, and he was selling them off. And I've got some Jorvik ones there, which are Viking coins. You can buy this when you visit York, and you visit Jorvik. You can buy little replica coins in a little folder that tells you all about them. So those are interesting. I've got another little medal there, which is 1914-15 star. Now, if you actually volunteered to go into the First World War, you automatically got several medals. A service medal and other medals. I think they called them Tom, Dick and Harry, or somebody in Pipsqueak. I'm not quite sure what they call them now. But that's the star that you got if you were a volunteer. If you had to be called up, then you didn't get this particular medal. So that's another medal of the First World War medal, of which I lost two uncles, my dad's brothers, in the First World War. They were killed when one was 18 and one was 21. They were both killed in the First World War. And I've got their medals up on the wall here. But they didn't get this medal because they didn't actually join up. I think they waited until they were actually called up. They weren't the first to volunteer when they first had that war. So they were called up. So they didn't actually get that particular medal. But they got the other two. So we've got 4 medals belonging to them. Now, remember I was telling you about the half crown before. Now, these are 5-shilling pieces. And I've got, oh, God, I must have 10 or 15, 20 of these maybe in here. All in these packets. And they're all different people. That one is Sir Winston Churchill. 5-shilling commemorative coin. And these are the Queen and Prince Philip, our present Queen. And I've also got Charles and Diana, Prince Charles, Prince of Wales. Not that he's my favourite person, but people might like him. But there's Princess Diana on there, and that's a commemorative coin. And I got quite a few of those 5-shilling piece coins, and they were worth 2 of those half crowns that I showed you before. 2 of those half crowns would make 1 of those in minted money. Now, I know a lot of people in America look at these videos, so I just wanted to show you that I've got a commemorative set of American coins, which I actually inherited from my sister when she died. She got them. She worked for the Americans at the American Embassy in London, and she had these coins. And that's a commemorative set of American coins, which is quite interesting. And I've never took them out of the packet. They're still as they were mint. It's sealed, I think. I don't think you can take them out without breaking it, and I wouldn't want to do that. So those are in mint condition, and they're a proof set of the American coins. And another American coin which I've got, which I bought, is I hear a lot about a thing they call the Indian head, and I've got one somewhere here. I just can't place it now, and I won't search for it while you're waiting. So I'll show you this one instead. This is an Indian head coin, and what the chap did, who owned it, before he sold it to me, I bought this coin in a shop, a little shop, was what he's done is mounted the Indian head coin, and I believe it's in silver, he said it was silver, into a little arrowhead. And that's quite nice. He's mounted the Indian head penny, or whatever value that coin is, because I believe it's silver, and it's a genuine coin. It's got a buffalo on the back, and it's dated 1913 to 1938. So I thought that was quite nice, and I actually bought that. So that's an American coin. It's been made into an interesting little thing, which I like that very much. And a lot of commemorative tokens. And these are interesting. I got one here that I actually bought. These little commemorative medals. Now these are actually, I don't know what metal they are. I thought they were made of lead, but it may be pewter. I don't quite know what it is. It's certainly not, you know, a sort of a coin metal. It's not silver, and it may not be lead, but they're commemorative. And this one is Alexander, Queen Alexander, I think it was, and Edward the Seventh King, and Alexandra the Queen. So that's a little commemorative medal of his on there. Now one I did metal detect, which, as I say, I thought when I dug it up it was lead, but I don't think they are made of lead, these little coins, these little medals. And that one's interesting because it's still got the red, white and blue, little bit of decorative thing for hanging it up on. That one is this one, and I think it's the this is Edward the Seventh as well, but he hasn't got Alexander on. This is just the straight king on that one, and it's been in the ground, so it's knocked about, and it's bubbling up a bit, and that's what made me think it was lead. But it may not be lead, it may actually be pewter, I'm not sure. So those are interesting. Oh, I've got another commemorative one here, American one, so that might be interesting. This is in a little box. I got this from my sister. It says 90% silver, commemorative $50, and that's in a little case as well. So that's a $50 for our American friends. I've got that one in there. Now, I think I've just about exhausted all I want to do on this particular video. I might just show you one more thing if I can.